The void beyond the shattered moons of Karthos IV hums with static silence as the duel nears its end. Commander Vryn, the galaxy's undefeated warlord, breathes through the scarred plating of his armor, his plasma halberd glowing like a dying sun. Across from him stands the human, barehanded, unarmored, smiling. The air ripples around them, space bent by energy and disbelief alike. Vryn's thoughts fracture into disbelief as the human's calm gaze reflects back the fury of 1,000 battles. "Why don't you fight back?" Vryn growls through gritted teeth, the words thick with static distortion. The human merely tilts his head, the faint starlight catching in his eyes. "Because you've already lost," he says quietly. The warlord roars, launching forward in a blur of violet light, and then, impossibly, his weapon halts inches from the human's chest. The smile remains undisturbed, and Vryn realizes too late that all his strength, his legend, his purpose were never enough against something as simple and terrifying as peace. In the aftermath, silence blooms. The warlord lies among cooling ash, his armor cracked open to the void. The human kneels beside him, not out of triumph but understanding. "You fought for order," the human murmurs. "But order built on fear always collapses." Vryn's eyes flicker once, the final current of his life ebbing. The human's smile fades into solemn calm as he stands beneath the fractured moons, gazing toward the unseen horizon of a reborn galaxy. The human's ship waits on the edge of the shattered plain, its hull scarred but operational. He pauses before boarding, glancing once more toward the battlefield. The ghosts of light shimmer faintly, echoes of Vryn's power dissipating into peace. He whispers, almost to himself, "Even the strongest must learn to yield." The ship's engines ignite, painting the ruins gold as he ascends into orbit, carrying the quiet promise of what comes after war. From orbit, the human watches Karthos IV recede into the black sea of stars. Once a world of conquest, now a scar of silence. His reflection in the viewport merges with the planet's broken silhouette. He exhales slowly, eyes soft but steady. "Goodbye, warrior," he murmurs, voice barely audible over the hum of engines. The ship turns, setting a course for unknown stars. Far beyond Karthos, among uncharted constellations, the human's ship drifts through a nebula of living light. He closes his eyes, feeling peace, a rare, fragile thing in a galaxy built on conflict. Somewhere, a faint voice echoes, not in words, but in memory, the warlord's final thought. To lose to peace is to finally win. The human opens his eyes, smiling once more, as the stars realign into dark. The transmission crackles across deep space, faint, distorted, and impossible. To those who hear this, "He is alive." The words echo through the command chamber of the Terran Vanguard flagship, Sol Meridian. Captain Elara Voss listens in silence, her reflection shimmering against the holographic feed. The signal's origin, Karthos IV, a world that should have been nothing but glass and ruin. Her eyes narrow. "Prep a reconnaissance team," she orders, her voice calm, but heavy with unease. Somewhere in her gut, she knows the human's victory was not the end, only an awakening. Beyond the viewport, the star lines stretch into infinite blue, and the promise of peace trembles under the weight of returning shadows. The probe's descent cuts through layers of blackened atmosphere. Its sensors relay impossible readings, plasma signatures identical to Commander Vryn's, flickering deep beneath the planet's crust. In the silence of orbit, Elara watches the feed, her pulse synchronizing with each static pulse on screen. "He can't still exist," she whispers, more plea than statement. The camera feed distorts, then a human face flashes briefly, smiling, before the signal collapses into static. The human awakens in the abyss, encased in crystallized plasma, suspended in a field of light. Memories drift like smoke. The duel, the smile, the collapse. His breath returns with a faint shimmer, his eyes opening to the faint echo of Rin's voice. "You took my power," the voice murmurs. "Now you must bear what it costs." Light fractures through the cocoon, and the chamber begins to quake. Above him, molten clouds churn with reborn thunder. On the bridge, alarms flare crimson. The probe's readings spike, translating into a single massive energy surge erupting from the planet's core. Alara grips the console, voice steady despite the chaos. "He's coming back." Through the viewport, a pillar of light bursts through Carthosiv's clouds, pure white and alive. The ship's systems stutter as the surge passes through space like a wave of rebirth. For a fleeting second, every crew member feels warmth, peace, and an unexplainable fear. As the light fades, the planet falls silent once more. In the quiet command deck, Alara exhales slowly, gazing into the void where the beam had been. "Send word to High Command," she says softly. The warlord isn't gone. He's become something else. Her eyes drift toward the holographic reflection of the human's smile, flickering faintly on the console. Outside, the stars shift, like they too are beginning to wake. Deep within the resurrected crust of Carthos IV, the human emerges from the cocoon of energy. Reborn yet fractured, his heartbeat echoes with something alien, his veins lit by Vrin's former power. Each breath radiates light, each step distorts gravity. "You should not exist," a voice whispers from the shadows, not spoken but resonant in his mind. He turns, finding Vrin's spectral form coalescing from dust and plasma. "Neither dead nor alive. You gave this to me," the human answers quietly. "And now I must undo it." The specter's eyes burn with impossible calm. "Then learn, human. Strength is not what you think it is." Around them, molten air ripples, carrying whispers of the countless wars fought for power, all now meaningless beneath the trembling of a new dawn. On the Sol Meridian, Alara studies the energy readings, rhythmic, pulsing, alive. "It's not destruction," she mutters. "It's evolution." The science officer hesitates before speaking, his voice low. "Ma'am, the signal is synchronized with human neural frequencies." Alara's expression hardens. "Then he's no longer human." She turns toward the starlit window where faint golden waves ripple through the void. The light touches her face, and for an instant she feels peace and dread in equal measure. The human and Vrin stand at the threshold of the planet's core, a cathedral of molten glass. Energy flows like rivers of thought, merging them in ways neither can resist. "You feared me once," Vrin's echo intones. "Now you carry my burden." The human reaches into the light, his hand trembling. "Then teach me how to end it." Their forms blur, merging at the edges, becoming one, a fusion of mortal empathy and cosmic power. As their consciousness intertwines, visions flash. Galaxies birthing, dying, rebirthing, endless cycles of strength and surrender. Above the planet, Sol Meridian shakes violently as pulses of the golden energy erupt from the surface, rippling through the ship's hull. Crew members shout over alarms, but Alara remains still, eyes fixed on the rising aurora. "He's rewriting reality," she says in awe. "No weapon can stop this." Outside, the planet begins to bloom, its once ashen crust reforming into luminous crystal structures that reach toward orbit. The crew watches in silent wonder as war's graveyard turns into light's cathedral. In the core's silence, Vrin's form finally fades. His last words echo through the human's mind. "The strongest warrior does not conquer, he yields." The human opens his eyes, now filled with both mortal warmth and celestial fire. He lifts his hand, releasing the energy back into the world, no longer bound by rage but guided by purpose. The planet settles into stillness. Far above, Ilara watches the light fade and whispers to herself, "Peace isn't won. It's remembered." The stars shimmer, as though the universe itself exhales. Months have passed. The Terran vanguard has quarantined Karthos IV, but the light still rises from its surface each dawn. Soft, rhythmic, alive. Captain Ilara Voss stands before the council on the orbital station Nadir's Gate. Her words deliberate and heavy. "We can't contain him," she says. "He is not a threat. He's a change." The chamber hums with silence. Admirals exchange uneasy glances. Politicians whisper in coded tones. Outside the viewport, the planet glows faintly like a heartbeat in the dark. Ilara's gaze drifts toward it, and though her face remains stoic, her thoughts tremble with awe and fear. Somewhere within that light, the human watches too, neither god nor weapon, only awake. Far below the clouds, the human walks among crystal forests born from the planet's reformation. Each step resonates, turning silence into melody. He hears faint echoes of Rin's voice, not words, but harmonics that shape light itself. "You are not alone," it seems to whisper. He kneels beside a stream of molten glass, now cooled into clarity, and touches the reflection that ripples with both faces, his and the warlord's. "Then we rebuild," he murmurs. From the forest's edge, crystalline vines respond, shifting like living architecture, following his thought. On Nadir's Gate, Ilara's chief scientist presents new data. "The planet is replicating neural resonance patterns," he explains. "It's becoming a mind. One built on his consciousness." The council murmurs, voices rising in alarm. Ilara closes her eyes, listening not to their fear, but to the distant hum she's begun to hear in her dreams. A pulse, soft and patient, calling her name. When she opens them again, she makes her decision. "Prepare a descent craft," she says. "If the galaxy is changing, it'll face the one who's changing it." The descent through Karthos IV's atmosphere is like falling through light. Ilara's shuttle pierces veils of gold mist and molten vapor. As it breaks through the lower stratosphere, the controls flicker, systems overridden by a calm, familiar voice. "Don't be afraid," it says, the human's voice, serene and echoing. She looks out the viewport and sees the world remade. Cities of glass grown like coral, rivers flowing with radiant luminescence, the air shimmering with thought. For the first time, she smiles. The shuttle lands in silence. The human waits at the edge of a crystalline field, his smile unchanged, his presence vast yet gentle. "You came," he says, his voice carrying through the wind without sound. Ilara steps forward, her boots crunching on glass. "I had to see what peace looks like," she replies. He nods slowly, eyes reflecting galaxies. "It's fragile," he says, "but it's real." As they stand beneath the newborn sky, the planet breathes with them. Two souls at the threshold of a future no longer bound by strength or war, but by quiet understanding. At the heart of the reborn world, Ilara and the human walk through a labyrinth of crystal towers that hum like quiet voices. Each pulse, each shimmer of light carries memories, fragments of the galaxy's past woven into the new consciousness of Karthos IV Darf. "You turned a battlefield into a living world," Ilara whispers, fingertips brushing a wall that glows at her touch. "It wasn't me," the human replies softly. "It was what remained when the war stopped." His smile is faint, weary, and luminous all at once. The air around them shimmers, responding to their words. In every reflection, the ghost of Rin's armor flickers, not haunting, but watching, like a guardian of what has come after. Above the surface, the Sol Meridian hovers in orbit. Its crew observes the planet's transformation in silence, unable to define what they see. Data feeds are unreadable. Instruments register living frequencies instead of numbers. It's rewriting physics, the science officer says in disbelief, but Admiral Kale, watching from the command deck, shakes his head slowly. No, he murmurs, it's rewriting purpose. For the first time in centuries, a Terran warship lowers its weapons, its lights dimmed in quiet salute. In the core of Carthos IV, the human stands before a swirling vortex of light, the planet's consciousness alive and aware. It's thinking, he whispers, awe-struck. The voice that answers is layered, vast, and gentle. We are you. We are what you remembered when you stopped fighting. He closes his eyes as the light envelops him, carrying whispers of every fallen soldier, every dream abandoned to war. When it fades, he is changed. Not divine, not alien, but whole. His smile returns, quiet and knowing, as if to say that even endless destruction can give birth to something kind. Elara stands on the surface, feeling the wind for the first time in months, soft, alive, and carrying the scent of renewal. She hears his voice, though he's nowhere to be seen. The galaxy isn't meant to be ruled, it says, only understood. She looks toward the horizon where light dances through crystalline towers, spreading outward like a dawn that will never end. For the first time, she understands. Peace isn't a victory. It's a choice that must be made every moment. In the final quiet, the camera drifts through the cosmos. The light of Carthos IV spreads across the void, touching distant worlds, awakening forgotten life. Somewhere beyond, a faint echo of laughter, the humans ripples through the stars. The strongest warrior, his voice says, fading into the black, is the one who teaches others how to smile. The stars pulse once as if in reply. The screen fills with radiant gold before dissolving to darkness. Centuries later, the story of the smiling human has become myth. Across the Orion reach, travelers whisper of the Lightborn, a being who ended all war without raising a weapon. Yet myths fade, and empires rise again. On the world of Virith Prime, the Dominion of Steel prepares its armadas, hungry to reclaim the stars once surrendered to peace. Among their ranks stands Cadet Ryan Saul, who gazes from the Academy balcony at the faint glimmer of Carthos IV on the horizon. Just a story, his commander says, but Rhiannon can't shake the sense that the light flickering across the void is alive, waiting. And somewhere deep inside him, a voice stirs, soft as memory. Remember the smile. In a lecture hall carved from polished alloy, holograms replay fragments of the galaxy's forgotten wars. Rian listens to the lectures of conquest, of dominance, of survival. But when the instructor speaks of Carthos IV, labeled the Silent Zone, the hologram flickers. For a brief moment, the image of the smiling human appears, serene, amid chaos. The room falls silent. Rian's pulse quickens. Who was he? He asks aloud, but no one answers. The instructor simply clears the glitch, his expression unreadable. The myth, it seems, is being erased. Late that night, unable to sleep, Ryan ventures into the Academy's observatory. Alone beneath the transparent dome, he activates a long-range telescope, locking onto the coordinates of Carthos IV. The screen floods with light, not the pale reflection of a dead world, but a pulsing, golden rhythm. As he watches, the light shifts, forming a single phrase, across the void. Come home. His breath catches. The voice from his dreams returns, now clearer. You carry the memory of peace, it says. Find it again before they destroy it. Defying orders, Rian steals a small reconnaissance craft and launches into the void. Pursuit ships streak behind him, their thrusters cutting silver scars across the stars. You're chasing a myth, His commander's voice shouts over comms. Rian doesn't reply. Ahead, Karthos IV grows brighter, alive, calling. His navigation fails as he enters the planet's shimmering halo. And suddenly, silence. The ship drifts weightless through what feels less like space and more like a memory. The voice returns. Welcome back. The ship lands softly on a surface of crystalline plains untouched by time. Rian steps out, blinking beneath the eternal dawn. The air hums, alive, resonant. From the horizon, a figure approaches, the same human, unchanged, smiling as before. You came, the being says. Rian falls to his knees, overcome. You're real. The human reaches out a hand. So are you, he answers. You're what comes next? Light rises from the ground, surrounding them both, as if the planet itself recognizes its air. In that moment, Rian understands, peace was never lost. It was waiting for someone to remember. Time folds in silence as Rian and the human walk through the glowing fields of Karthos IV. The world breathes around them, a living memory suspended between moments. Why me? Rian asks quietly. The human's smile softens, eyes filled with endless starlight. Because you listened, he says. When the galaxy forgot what peace sounded like, you heard it. Crystalline petals drift through the air, their reflections forming infinite echoes of light. This place is not paradise, the human continues. It's a reminder that strength without compassion dies in silence. Rian looks toward the sky where the Dominion fleet approaches, dark specks against dawn. Then I'll remind them. In orbit, the Dominion's flagship Iron Veil arrives, a city-size engine of war bristling with ion lances and planetary breakers. Admiral Kale stands at the viewport, his reflection fractured across the glass. Initiate strike sequence, he orders coldly. But before the first weapon fires, the stars begin to pulse, not in light but in rhythm. A wave of golden resonance expands from Karthos IV, passing through the fleet like a silent breath. Kale's voice falters. What is that? The crew freezes as their weapons flicker off one by one. The ships float adrift in perfect stillness. For the first time, the machines of war fall silent by choice. Rian stands at the center of a crystalline spire, energy flowing through him like a conduit. His mind bridges the stars. His thoughts ripple into every ship above. You don't have to fight anymore, he whispers, and 1,000 pilots feel his voice inside their hearts. The human watches from the edge of the spire, the same serene smile tracing his face. The strongest warrior, he says softly, is the one who teaches others to stop being warriors. The planet hums louder, synchronizing with the heartbeat of every soldier across the fleet, a single, unified pulse. Admiral Kale collapses to his knees as visions flood his mind. Cities reborn, oceans restored, faces of those lost to endless conflict smiling again. Tears slip down his cheek. What have we done? He whispers. The crew watches as every ship in the fleet turns away from the planet, engines dimming to silence. No command issued, only understanding shared. In the control deck's reflection, Kale glimpses the faint image of the smiling human beside him, fading like light into glass. The Admiral closes his eyes. Forgive us, he breathes. From orbit, the galaxy watches as Karthos IV radiates across the void, its golden light sweeping through systems like dawn across endless night. Wars end without a single shot. Weapons crumble. Entire civilizations pause, remembering how to breathe again. On the planet below, Rian and the humans stand beneath the rising sun. One now mortal, the other eternal, yet bound by the same purpose. What happens now? Rian asks. The human looks skyward, smiling faintly. Now, he says, they learn to smile on their own. As the screen fades to white, the hum of the universe resolves into quiet laughter, warm, human, infinite.